Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm LDaman86 and today we're going to be talking about Arsenal. And there's a fair few things to talk about. Obviously, the first thing we want to talk about is obviously the run of form we've been going through. Obviously, three losses in a row now. The most recent being obviously the 2-0 loss against Liverpool in the FA Cup, which sucks because, most, at least for the first half, we were a dominant team. And we've been dominant. I think we've been the dominant team throughout the last three losses, in my opinion. Yes, I mean, the FA Cup's a trophy that have become accustomed to winning, and it's always disappointing to kind of get knocked out of that tournament, especially Liverpool. A Liverpool team that was rotated a little bit, beatable. Liverpool are definitely beatable in this season, more than most. At least the last couple of seasons. So yeah, it was disappointing. At home as well, you'd thought we'd do better. We just can't score a goal. We'll go into that in a minute, but obviously the further losses in the league against Fulham and West Ham have hurt too. I mean, West Ham and Fulham are definitely teams that we should be beating. We spanked them last season. I think home and away for both teams as well. So, actually, I think West Ham might have beaten us last season, but away anyway. But yeah, it's winnable games is what I'm trying to say. They're all winnable games, but yeah, like I said, we can't seem to be putting our chances away. We've created most chances out of all three games. We just can't score. We've lost the ability to score a goal apparently. One goal I think in like three games and like 37 chances or something stupid like that. Or 37 shots or whatever. So yeah, we're suffering up front right now. We're also suffering in the back. Um, I think the Raya experiment has harmed us a little bit. I think there was no reason to chuck Ramsdale out of the team. I don't think he was at fault for the Liverpool game, to be honest with you. Obviously, Smith Rowe own goal, which I don't think. You know, there's a meme going around, and it looks in slow motion like Ramsdale's just come out diving out of the box and couldn't get to the ball. But at the end of the day, he probably wasn't expecting Smith Rowe to actually head the ball into the goal. So I don't blame Ramsdale for that. I think Ramsdale hasn't done anything wrong. Some people, opposition fans, have picked up on his comments about not being interested throughout the entire game, blah blah blah. I'm probably sure that a lot of footballers agree with him. Um, it's just he had the balls to come out to him. It's just one of those things that opposition fans can just easily pick up on and spin in a negative way. So I don't think he did anything wrong. Raya, for me, I thought was going to be a backup. I thought he was going to be just a competition for Ramsdale to push him up a little bit. Because we were slightly sloppy towards the end of the last season. I thought Arteta was trying to stamp that out. But yeah, it just looks like he's outright gone. You know what? I don't want Ramsdale anymore. I want Raya to be in goal. So some rumours saying that Raya's move's been permanent. I don't think it is. I think it can't be permanent until the end of the season, which is the end of his loan. Yeah, just very weird. Very weird decisions were made in the summer. We weren't far. I mean, obviously, you think last season we weren't far off winning the title, and you think okay, one or two tweaks, one or two backup players maybe, and we'll just push on again. But he's just kind of unravelled a lot of things. The goalkeeper situation for me is just weird. It's self-inflicted gunshot wound in my opinion. It's just like unnecessarily. It was unnecessarily done. Um, Granted, Raya probably would have jumped at the chance to join us on loan because obviously it was Champions League football, a bigger club than Brentford. No disrespect to them, but it is. And yeah, competition. Raya was 10 times the goalkeeper that Matt Turner is. So you think okay, well, cool. We'll have him challenging Ramsdale, push Ramsdale a bit because Ramsdale finally will have a goalkeeper behind him who, if Ramsdale has a bad game, you'd think would jump into his shoes, but it's just outright swapped. Arteta just seems to want Mayo instead of Ramsdale, which is weird. Ramsdale did really well with us. He got us into Champions League football. Hasn't played a minute of Champions League football, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he might have played the last game. I can't remember, but yeah, just disrespect, unnecessary as well. It was unnecessary. I don't know why he's done it. We've gone backwards because of it. I don't think Ray is that much better than Ramsdale in my opinion. Take that as you will, but going into midfield, I like Kai Havertz. I thought at the time it was a bit of a weird move. You know, mainly because Chelsea had ruined him and nobody knew what his best position was. And you think, okay, well, maybe he's bringing him in to, replace Xhaka and he's going to be more of a forward attacking midfielder. Kind of plays like that, but it kind of doesn't, kind of roams around. He scored a couple of clutch goals for us, to be fair. He started scoring, which is cool. I don't hate him as a player, I don't hate him as a signing anymore. Still confusing though. Why didn't we get to the now number eight a defensive midfielder, put Rice at number eight, put Rice as the Xhaka position, and get another central defensive midfielder, because I think Partey, his time at Arsenal was coming to an end, regardless of what happens off the pitch or whatever, his injury or whatever. I think his time at Arsenal, we've got to move on for him, in my opinion. But yeah, just I don't know. We're just gonna get this guy who's had a very problematic career. I mean, for me, I think Havertz should have gone abroad, back to Germany, gone to a lesser team, rebuilt his confidence, found out what his best position is, and then maybe get another big move somewhere else. But again, I don't hate him. He's done some really good stuff for Arsenal, which is good. He gets a lot of flack because it's Kai Havertz, but I don't think he's the reason why we've been losing the games. Very strange decisions in the summer. Obviously, nobody thought Timber was going to get injured an hour into his Premier League debut. I was there. It sucked. It was the one bad thing about that whole day. The rest of it was amazing, but the game against Forest at the beginning of the season, yeah, he just went down there. You'd think that if Timber was in the game, or in the team, and he was playing, would he be playing at right back now instead of Ben White, who doesn't seem to have the same relationship as Saka anymore? There seems to be a disconnect there for some reason. Would he be playing in centre back alongside Saliba? You'd have to imagine that it'd be Gabriel taken off for Timber, but you'd have to imagine that we'd probably be doing better defensively with Timber in the team. Obviously, Partey's always out. He's always out for every single season. Comes in, does really well for a couple of months, and gets injured again. For me, we should move on from here. I don't think his injury records helps him. I think he just needs to go to an easier league, and where he can boss Spain or Germany or France even. We need to move on for him. There's interest in Onana from Everton. I think he could be a really good Partey replacement. Maybe push Declan Rice a bit forward. I would play Declan Rice forward more. Yeah, I'll put Rice in the Xhaka spot, and I'll bring Onana in and have him as centre defensive mid, and then obviously Odegaard on the other side. But that's just me. The glaring thing is the striker issue. Obviously, Martinelli and Saka are both just not performing well at the same time for the first time ever. Normally, one of them is in form and the other one might have a little bit of a dip. Martinelli in particular has had a really bad season. I think he's got like 2 or 3 goals, if that. Saga's still got his goal. He's still scoring really well in the first couple of months of the season. He's dipped off now as well. I think opposition teams have targeted him, especially. He doesn't have as much space and movement anymore, freedom. He's closed down. You see, the moment he gets on the ball, especially if he's in the opponent's half, there's 2 or 3 opposition players on him immediately. One of them will foul him, and the other one will get the ball and take it away, and that's pretty much what happens every single game. So, Saka, I would say he's having his worst dip at Arsenal at the moment, apart from, obviously, just before Emery got sacked. The glaring issue right now is striker. There's rumours that Jesus is out now for a few weeks. Surprise, surprise. And Nketiah, for me, hasn't done enough this season. I think he's been given enough chance this season. He's probably going to play the Palace game at the weekend. There's rumours of Palace as well as West Ham being interested in him. I'd sell him. No disrespect to Eddie. I like Eddie as a player. He's just not good enough for Arsenal. I think Arsenal as a club have moved on for Eddie Nketiah. We've got some tough decisions to make soon, in my opinion. Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, and Emil Smith Rowe. Ideally, I'd have all 3 at the team. All 3 doing really well, being really great, doing elevating us. But at the end of the day, Eddie's not the guy. He'll come in with a goal or 2 every once in a while, but he's not the guy. There's a notable drop off when Jesus comes off or Trossard comes off, and Eddie comes on, it's like, okay, it's almost like we're conceding that we're not going to score, we're just going to hold our shape or whatever. Um, and I don't think Jesus is now that striker. Everyone knows that now. I think it's time now that we get a real striker in. Who that striker's going to be, Tony's listed, but I don't think he's that good of a fit. I think he'd be better than Eddie, and I think he'd be better as striker than Jesus, but I don't think he'd be that as prolific as everyone thinks. Everyone thought that Raya was going to come in and smash the goalkeeper position, but he hasn't really. He's looked very shaky at times. He's better now than he was in the first half of the season, but he hasn't come in and walked into the team and elevated it, and I don't think Tony would do either. I could people could disagree and have their opinions. That's fine. I don't see it with Tony in my opinion. Plus all the off the field stuff. There's the rumours of bad attitude. For me, it reminds me too much of Aubameyang. But it looks like he's going to stay at Brentford. He wants to repay Brentford for their patience, because obviously he's been out for a few months. So I don't think that's going to happen. Simhead, I think, is beyond Arsenal. I think he's going to go to a big club at some point, Madrid or PSG or somewhere like that, but probably not Bayern, but he's got a big move, and I just don't see it happening unless he runs his contract out, but I think he's just got a new contract, so there's other players. Obviously my pick is Santi Jimenez. Everyone knows that by now. I'm not going to talk too much about him, because everyone knows my opinion on Santi Jimenez. I think he would be a perfect fit. He's young, he's 22, he's prolific AF in Eredivisie right now. I think he's on 16 goals this season. Again, it's the Eredivisie. I think Eddie Nketiah would do well in the Eredivisie, but it's a starting point. He knows how to score. It's whether he can bring in Saka and Martinelli and bring the other players in like Jesus can. That's a question mark for me for Jimenez. Doesn't have that many assists. He has a few assists, to be fair. I think he's got like 3 assists this season. But it's a question mark whether he could do it in the Premier League. There's a question mark whether he could do it with Martinelli and Saka and bring them in as well as score goals. I think in terms of like a Chicharito target man or Chicharito finisher, I think he's up there. I think he's one of the best strikers in the world right now in terms of actually scoring goals. Again, it's the Eredivisie, blah, 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 but still, you've got to score against who you're playing against. And he's young, and I think he'd be a perfect fit. I don't think Feyenoord will let him go in January. I think it's going to be a summer move. I think everyone has to agree that Santi Jimenez is going to leave Feyenoord in the summer. It's just a question of where. There's Real Madrid talks. I don't think he's quite ready for Real Madrid yet. He's definitely ready for Arsenal in my opinion. I think he'd do really well. Fits the profile that Arteta likes. But like I can see, there are other strikers out there. And you never know. You can't really predict what Arsenal are going to do in the transfer market anymore. So we'll have to wait and see. It'll probably be a surprise player that barely anyone's ever heard of comes in and does really well. So again, I don't see Eddie. I mean, if we could get some kind of deal for a striker, maybe Eddie can go. Jesus won't go in the summer. I think he'll stay. If we do get a decent striker who comes in and does really well, then maybe Jesus is relegated to the bench. Maybe he starts rotating Martinelli on the left wing, which he doesn't like. He wants to be a striker, but I don't think he's that kind of a player anymore. So yeah, difficult decisions coming up, but at the same time, we've got to look to our next game, which is Palace on the 20th. Huge game. We have to win it. We have to stop the hemorrhage. We have to start scoring goals again. A good week off now. Obviously, next weekend we don't have a game, so plenty of chance to recuperate. I think they're going to go to Dubai and have hot weather training or whatever. So hopefully, we get Partey back. Timber won't be back, but I think he's going there anyway. And just we need to arrest this deterioration. We need to start winning games again, especially with the Champions League next round coming up relatively soon. A good win against a decent Palace side, if we're being frank, but Palace are beatable. They've got a couple of really good players. But like I said, guys, it's a difficult time for us right now. But big opportunity at the weekend or next weekend, and yeah, big opportunity in transfer window as well. Obviously, January is a bit of a difficult month. Everyone seems to think that we can do business that we can't. There's a possibility we don't sign anyone. There's a possibility we panic buy. I don't think we'll panic buy. I think Arteta and Edu are very comfortable not signing anyone rather than signing the one person. So we'll have to wait and see. Dominoes are going to fall. Players are going to start signing for other clubs, and it's going to leave other players open. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, if we do sign anyone, I'll do a video on that and do my opinion on it. So let me know in the comments what you think about Arsenal's form right now. We're back to fourth, which is a position we've not been in for a long time. Well, I say a long time, at least a year now, over a year. So, yes, it's difficult times right now, but it's not be all and end all. Like, we can still regain our form. Saka, Martinelli, even Jesus when he comes back, Odegaard as well. We've got really good players who can score. It's just they need to start learning how to do it, and remembering how to do it, and adapting as well. And we've got players coming back from injury as well. So it's not the end of the world right now. It's just this is the time now where we have to really start kind of sorting it out. So big decisions have to be made. Like I said, with Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, who are rotation players at this point. Reece Nelson in particular, I think, is loved by the Arsenal fan base. Even Smith Rowe as well. I don't want to see either of them leave. But at the end of the day, at some point, there has to be a point where we go, you know what, we've given you chances and it hasn't worked. Maybe move on. We did the same with Iwobi. A lot of people were disappointed with Iwobi leaving. He's gone on to do relatively well. He did relatively well at Everton. And now he's at Fulham doing relatively well with them. So maybe it's a bit of a step down for Nelson and Smith Rowe would help them more than staying at Arsenal. It's a shame, but that decision's looming. It's not quite here yet. I don't think anyone's leaving in January, but the decision is looming for all three of those players. Even more, I mean, Vieira, obviously he's been injured for a while now. Trossard, how much of a future does Trossard have? He seems to have fizzled out a little bit as well. It was a really good January transfer window signing last season, by the way. He's done really well. I don't want him to leave just yet, but at the same time, he's fairly old now. Like, how long do we keep him for? Again, Jesus as well. If he loses a striker spot, how long he's going to stay for? So, the squad's way more destabilised now than it was this time last season. I generally felt like we had one, maybe two moves in the transfer window in summer, and we'd be outright challenging City, especially with City losing De Bruyne for a long time and faltering. They lost a few games. Liverpool had a terrible start to the season. I thought we'd move on, but obviously decisions were made in summer that I think maybe in the long term will benefit us, but in the short term, for me anyway, is to stabilise the team a little bit. But we'll have to wait and see. Havertz as well, where's he going to end up position-wise, and yeah, it's just all a little bit of chaotic and a bit of a mess right now, in my opinion. But hopefully, we've got 2 weeks or just under a week and a half now to kind of sort it out a little bit and move on against Palace. So yeah, let me know what you think about all the stuff I've talked about in this video. We'll have a chat about it. And anyway guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate that too. And leave a comment. I'll reply to all the comments. So yeah, take it easy guys. I'll see you guys very soon. Adios.